Have you ever, for want of a better term, enviously looked at someone else's spreadsheet, be they a colleague, be they a manager, be it a spreadsheet you saw on the internet, and wondered why you can't make spreadsheets like that? Perhaps the spreadsheet is full of automated tools where you click certain buttons and it recalculates everything. It creates all sorts of tables and graphs at the touch of a button. It reformats everything. And you're sat there thinking, well, I know that the software can do that, but I can't write code, and I know you need to write hundreds of lines of code to do that. Well, with AI, you can now write, proof, edit, and insert code in Excel, in Google Sheets, whatever software you use, in order to create that for you, to create that automated spreadsheet, hundreds of lines of code at the touch of a button. And if you want to know how to do that, then please take a look at this video where I'm going to be talking you through it step by step. In this top tip for accountants using ChatGPT in spreadsheets, I'm going to take you through how to en masse reformat a document, how to use it to have calculations, to conditionally format your data, to reformat the how the actual numbers are displayed, how the text is displayed, and also create charts. And all of that through an input of code from ChatGPT. So what I've got here on the screen is some data which is essentially supposed to represent output from information that you may have downloaded. So we've got the customer lists there, we've got the area, we've got the name of the account manager, the revenue, the profit, the last time that we contacted them, and whether their account is currently open or closed. I've also got a profit margin there, but unfortunately the profit margin hasn't been calculated, so we've got to do that. Now, this doesn't really look very nice at the moment. Of course, we want it to look a lot nicer. We want it to have the actual results we want from it in terms of the profit margin, in terms of output over perhaps revenue generated by area, which percentage of accounts are closed, percentage of accounts are open, etc. Because that would actually be useful information, useful data for us. Now, you might be looking at that and thinking, well, I can actually use that and do that myself. I can just use Excel to calculate this. For example, you might be saying, well, in terms of the columns being aligned, you just highlight the columns and double click and it realigns it all. With the open and closed, if you wanted to do conditional formatting, you can go through that and type if statements, and if it's open, then have it as green. If it's closed, then have it as red. I can use formulas to calculate the margins. Yes, you could do all that, but what I'm saying here is that you can use ChatGPT to do all of that for you very, very quickly and easily at a touch of a button. And more importantly, not just do it now, but have it auto update every time you add new information into the system. So not just benefiting you now, but stopping you from having to redo everything every single time you download it, every single time you add new lines into the spreadsheet. So let's say that our end result is that we want it all to be nicely formatted. We want the titles to be bolded. We want it to be in a different color. We want every other line to be in a slightly different color as well, so that it's easier to look at. It's broken down more effectively. We want the revenue, we want the profit, we want that to be in pounds and currency rather than in numbers, general numbers like it is right now. This the last contact, we don't want it to be in that format. We don't want the time there. We don't want it to have all 4 digits of the year. We just want it to be in 2-year digits. How are we going to just update all of that quickly and easily and make sure that every new line we add into it is going to be automatically formatted as well, and also to have those graphs and tables in there? Well, what we can do is I'm just going to go over to ChatGPT now. And what we can do is we can write what is known as a VBA script. And this is going to plug directly into our Excel spreadsheet and automate and update everything for us. So you can see here, I've asked it to write an Excel VBA script to auto format and edit the spreadsheet that resizes the columns that bolds, grades, and underlines the first row. So that would be our titles here. What it will then do is add in the subsequent lines should alternate between white and a lighter grey. We don't want it to be as dark as the title. We then, of course, want to format our currency, the revenue and the profit that we're generating. We want that to be in pounds. We don't want that just to be in nominal numbers. We want it to be in pounds. We want it to have comma dividers. We want to have decimal places in it. So I've asked to make sure the columns D and E are in pounds to 2 decimal places. And in column H, please calculate a profit margin as a percentage by dividing column E by column D. Please remove the time from column F and ensure the date is represented in the following format. So I've said they've got the DD, MM, YY. We don't want to have all 4 years of it. And of course, it's quite well formatted at the moment already, but it could be if you're getting lots of raw data in. You've got some people that are putting it in different formats. Some are putting the months the wrong way around from the days, whatever it may be. Please also ensure that everything is space aligned and turn column C into a drop-down menu with the following options. And I put the 4 account managers there. Same for column B with the areas. Because at the moment, it's just written as John Smith. It's just written as North, South, and Jane Doe, etc. Whereas we want perhaps those to be in a drop-down menu so that we can always just add in the account manager at the touch of a button without typing it out again each time. And also, that's going to eliminate the chance that someone will misspell Jane Doe, or someone will misspell Bob White slightly, or they won't capitalize the surname, and therefore it comes out as a different name in the data when we're running the reports on it. And again, you can do that manually, but of course you have to then create that manually, and you have to type out all those words, and you have to set it up as a setting, and you have to make sure that setting, the cell for each column with the name is present each time. If not, if you drag it down and it's not going to have the drop-down menus there, it's not going to work again. We then want to conditionally format the cells in column G, using green if it's open and red if it's closed. So all those opens will be green, all those reds will be closed. Also, please create a table and calculate the total profit from column E generated by each account manager across the data set. So we've got those 5 account managers. So it's going to create a table and then it's going to put it into a bar chart. We can also then asking it to calculate the total revenue generated in each area. So north, south, east, west, central. And that's in column D, and put this again into a table and into a bar chart. And finally, calculate the total open and closed accounts and create a separate pie chart that shows the differences between open and closed accounts. Now, you can just type this in. You can actually use ChatGPT to write a script like this in the first place as well. So that's another way in which you can use it. So instead, what we're just going to then do is then post that in. It's now going to create, just click it to answer in chat instead. It sometimes wants to take it off to a separate notepad format, but I find it easiest just to keep it in the chat. What it's going to start by doing then is summarizing what we want it to do, and then it's going to write the script for us. Once it's finished writing the script, it's not just going to say here is the script, but it's also going to tell us how we can add this into our spreadsheet. Now, of course, I'm going to go through that in the video, but this is also an excellent thing about ChatGPT is it doesn't just give you the outputs or give you what you might need. It actually then shows you step by step how to implement it, how to add it. And you can see that it's generating all of this now, and you're looking at that probably thinking, I don't know what any of that means. And by the time this is finished, probably going to be over 100 lines of code that we're going to plug into our Excel spreadsheet, which if you're like most people, you're generally not actually an expert in coding and computer language. But you can now be with ChatGPT. In the past, someone who actually knew how to write code would have to write this. Then they would have to plug it in. But now you, as someone who perhaps doesn't know about code, can make it all yourself, add it into your spreadsheet and get the end result. And that's going to be not just a spreadsheet that updates what we've currently got, but it's going to be one that actually automatically updates all the information as and when we add new lines of data into it. So you can see it's given me the instructions. It's actually quite simple, quite straightforward. We copy our script there and go back to our spreadsheet. And what we have to do is we have to click Alt F11 or function Alt F11 depending on your computer. And that will open up our Visual Basic for applications. That's where the VBA comes from. And you'll be given this screen here. Again, you might be looking at that thinking, well, what do I do now? What's all this information? I've never seen it before. All we need to do is click on Insert in the top corner here and insert a module. That's going to give us a screen where we can add in all of our script that we've copied and pasted. We didn't have to type it in, we just copied and pasted it, and as is from ChatGPT into this, and then all we do is click Run. You can see it did that and said success. It's taken us back to the VBA here. If we go back onto our spreadsheet now, we can see that it's created the total tables for us, the total revenues for us. It's created the spreadsheets of, the chart outputs for us for the total profit, the total revenue, the open and closed accounts. It's calculated our profit margins for us. It's now turned these account managers into drop-down menus, the area into drop-down menus, the revenue and the profit is now in pound format, the date is now in the DDMMYY format, and also it's a lot easier on the eye because it's now broken up by these different colors of the lines. And if you wanted to add people into that, you can click on here. Let's say we're going to go for the North, and we're going to go for John Smith, and we'll just call them customer F_10, and just to show how to make it clear that it's updating the charts as well, we'll say it's a huge contract. So let's say it was a £500,000 contract and it was £250,000 profit, and the account is open. Just copy and paste one here, which of course that's not made much of a difference to the open and close, but what we can now see is that John Smith and the northern revenue area has increased by a substantial amount. So that's a quick tool then on how you can use something that many of you may not have known existed, the Visual Basic application in Excel, and using ChatGPT to write a script for us on that to very, very quickly create new tables, new graphs, to reformat a piece of data very quickly and easily. And as I said, you can, of course, manually do everything that I've just done here. You could definitely have created that yourself in Excel, but think of how long it would have taken you to have done that. And this is why GPT is such a useful tool to act alongside you, to work with you, to really improve your productivity and your efficiency, because it's only taken us a couple of minutes to have done all of that in ChatGPT, whereas it would perhaps have taken a lot longer for you to do it all manually. And of course, it's all synced together as well, and it all updates together.